Welcome to the Misophonia podcast. This is episode 223. My name's Adil Ahmad, and I have Misophonia. This week I talk with Esty from the UK. Esty reflects on growing up in a large religious community in London, and where misophonia first surfaced around the age of 10. She shares how isolation at family meals, a lack of understanding at home and school, and later an autism diagnosis has shaped her experience. We discuss her decision to leave the community, move to a quiet farm, and how solitude has been both protective and necessary. Esty opens up about the emotional toll of being triggered by loved ones, the challenges of work and education, and how supportive friendships and partners have made a difference. She also talks about her writing, hopes for research, and ideas to create more accessible tools for living with misophonia. It's a candid conversation about family, identity, and building safe spaces when the world feels overwhelming. After the show, let me know what you think. You can reach out to me by email at hello@misophoniapodcast.com or hit me up on Instagram or Facebook at Misophonia Podcast. By the way, please do head over and leave a quick rating wherever you listen to the show. It really helps drive us up in the algorithms and reach more listeners. A few of my usual announcements. You can, if you want to come on the show, please go to misophoniapodcast.com and click the Be a Guest link right at the top. Thanks again for the incredible ongoing support of our Patreon supporters. If you feel like contributing, you can read all about the various levels at patreon.com/misophoniapodcast. All right, now here's my conversation with Esty. Esty, welcome to the podcast. Great to have you here.
Nice to meet you.
Cool. Well, do you want to tell us a little bit about kind of where you are located, what you do?
Okay, so I actually grew up in Hackney in London. Yeah.
Cool.
Just recently I moved to live on a farm not far from London, just an hour away.
Gotcha.
It's
Okay.
been doing wonders. It's been doing wonders, and it's saving me from myself. There are barely any triggers, and the change is just 180 degrees.
Yeah. And so was the move primarily because you couldn't take where you were before in terms of noises?
I needed to move because it's a lot behind it. But who I am today and my relationship with my family and the people who matter to me is very much based on, if I need somebody to blame, it's misophonia to blame.
Mm-hmm.
Because some people suffer from a few triggers, some people suffer from many triggers, some people suffer on an emotional level, and some people suffer in a way that impacts all their relationships, and that was me. And I had to get away because the only way I can have a relationship with my family is when I'm far away physically. Because when I'm close by, it's always, you know the reactions that come when you're triggered.
Yeah, absolutely. And it sounds like maybe there are not the most understanding of your misophonia.
I only discovered myself that this thing that I was reacting when people were eating and had a name. I was 17 and I had been having that, since 10, when misophonia usually develops.
Right. So, and I guess, so how long ago, well, I don't want to necessarily age you, but was that a pretty recent discovery then that you had misophonia, or was it quite a while ago?
Well, I'm 23, so 6 years. Yeah.
Yeah, it's pretty recent, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So I guess, and so when you found out what it was, what did that feel like? How did you find out about it, actually?
My dad came home bringing a magazine, and I had a page that said a weird word that I had no clue what it was. I've never seen it in a dictionary. Said misophonia, and I was like, okay. He said, read it, you'll like it. And I read it, and I'm seeing a story of somebody who's going through what I'm going through, and I'm like, hey, I have a condition. It's not the whole world is crazy, it's me. that was the first time I ever thought that maybe I
Yeah.
have an issue, and maybe it's not the whole world that belongs in a pigsty. Like that's the way I thought. Right, growing up, that I was the only
Right.
person who was moral, the only person who was mannered.
Right. Right.
Um,
Did you get
and it
any
took a
tips
lot.
out of that? Did anything from that experience kind of, I don't know, help you cope at all?
No, unfortunately, like in all my years in life, my family has never done something, has never been willing or able
Mm-hmm.
to come towards me in a way that they had to pay a price. It's
Mm-hmm.
always it's always how we can send Esty away so it can be easier for us. So we'll have her sleep in the in the flat, somewhere else. We'll send her away. We'll send her away, and we'll send her again. We'll send her to a different country. We'll send her to a psychiatrist. But it's not about dealing with it. It's not about why should
Right.
the other kids pay a price. It's a lot of that, and I'm still hoping for change.
Yeah. Okay. So yeah. So it sounds like their way of dealing with it was were you sent off to like boarding school, or just were you literally just like sent away if you were reacting, or what was, because you were living at home, right? I'm just kind of curious, what was the living
I'm
situation
living
like
at
for
home,
you?
and I have a lot of siblings. I was growing up with a
Yeah.
lot of, and I just basically you couldn't find me at home. I was
Mm-hmm.
hiding in bed, hiding in the bathroom.
Yeah.
Family meal, I was just not there. From when I'm 14 or 13, I haven't joined the family meal, and they were
Mm-hmm.
fine with it. I mean, they still set my place every single meal, which is I find really interesting. I find it nice, but
Yeah.
they think they're being thoughtful, and it is. But hey, maybe go to someone who can explain to you what your daughter's going through and what your sister's going through to find something better than just setting a place that I'm never going to sit by. Um, but yeah,
Interesting. Okay. So yeah, a few things there. So it sounds like, well, how many siblings did you have? Like, what was the family size? Just kind of curious the picture at home.
I've got 9 siblings.
9 siblings. Wow. Okay.
Yeah, I grew
And
up in
you.
a very enclosed community, and that's
Okay.
always expected. You're expected to have a lot of kids. Yeah.
I see. Okay. And you alluded to a sibling also having maybe misophonia or some issues.
None of my siblings have
Oh.
misophonia.
Okay. 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 I thought you said that you and one of your siblings wouldn't be at the table. Um.
No, it was me. I wasn't at the sibling. I
Oh.
wasn't at the
Okay. Okay.
table.
Gotcha. Gotcha. Okay. Cool. Um. Interesting. Okay. Yeah. So I guess maybe going way back, like around 10. What was other than like a lot of chaos in the home? Like, when did you first start noticing misophonia? What was kind of going on around that time at home?
To be honest, I keep thinking back to it. I don't remember exactly how it started. I just remember, I mean, if I have to go into my brain and decide how it developed, I'm pretty sure it developed this because I had other needs that were not being met, and my brain was taking revenge and attacking me. And that's how misophonia developed. Um,
That is not an uncommon story. It's a good way of describing it. What a lot of us
yeah,
go
when
through.
I'm trying to give myself an excuse of why did this happen to me, because misophonia is not a physical. It's not a physical. People think it's physical. It's anger. I don't like when people think it's. People like to describe it as intolerance to not. It's not. It's not about tolerance. It's about the all the emotions that come with certain
Mm-hmm.
sounds. It's not intolerance to noise. That can be different sensitivity
Mm-hmm.
struggles. Um, this is not. It's not about the noise. It's not about the sound. It's about the anger, the emotions, the lack of control. That's what misophonia is. So
Absolutely. Can you do you want to touch on maybe some of the unmet needs that you feel like you were experiencing around that time that I'm sure many people listening will relate to?
so actually, when I 2 years after I discovered that I have misophonia, I got assessed with autism.
Mm-hmm.
So basically, that means autism is literally my wiring of my brain. It's not wired like neurotypical people are. Some people say misophonia is also a type of neurodivergence, which I am exploring, because obviously the brain wiring, misophonia is in the brain, it is neurological.
Mm-hmm.
But it is not. Where I come from, in the community I come from, it's one of the basic necessities is conformity. So you're expected to be fitting into a tiny box,
Mm-hmm.
and you have to match and you have to fit in. There's no other option. And I wasn't fitting in. I was weird, and I didn't have any friends, and I felt it. I was lonely all my life, and I think that's what made me develop misophonia. After having experience, after having my body was telling me, like, your needs are not being met. You're living in survival mode. You're living off other people's needs. You're fitting into something that you can't. You're not. You're going to explode. Because where I come from, there is no awareness of neurodivergence or neurodiversity. There's just one mold you have to fit in, and that's it. No other options. So I think that's why misophonia developed, from an emotional place, not from nothing physical.
Yeah, and I'm assuming it was you were being triggered at the meal table, just generally around the house. By
definitely started with chewing noises. Yeah. Suddenly I was like, suddenly my siblings were telling me, why do you keep telling us to stop eating near you?
Yeah,
it was suddenly I was attacking everybody and giving them the death stares, and the usual misophonia reaction. And nobody understood what was happening.
Did you get any blowback about it? Like, sorry, probably a colloquial term. But were you, I don't know, punished, or like what was the reaction to your reactions?
I was just expected to stop complaining about a noise that was not supposed to disturb me. I was told, she's only eating. Stop threatening her. Stop threatening her life. Telling her you're going to kill her. She's only eating. And I was like, no, I didn't even have the capacity to think logically, yes, she's only eating, but I am still suffering, and realized that, hey, there's a problem here. It was just like, no, she's not only eating, she's eating like a pig. And why do I have to see that?
Yeah. Were you triggered visually as well?
After a few months, I remember I started complaining about the washing machine. I don't need to see that. And I started not being able to, even with music, I wasn't able to sit at the table. Even with earplugs, it wasn't enough. And again, nobody understood. Why is that not enough? Suddenly it's people chewing gum on the bus, on the other end of the bus, and I can't go on the tube. And I can't be in school because the way the teacher is talking and moving her hands and talking. And suddenly I can't. I'm just limited. I'm not allowed to go into any space because they all are potentially dangerous for me.
Did anyone outside of your family and community, did anyone understand, like maybe a teacher or friends of yours outside of home? Or try or be empathetic in any way?
That nobody I knew had misophonia, at least not on the levels I did, and that was the issue, because people pretended they understood because they said some noises disturb them too. If people would have stopped a minute and said, hey, what she's going through is not normal. Maybe I hate noise, but not the way she does.
Yeah.
Maybe I would have been sent to the correct professional to actually diagnose me and provide accommodations.
So you said you did get...
They belittled my difficulties.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I'm sorry to hear that. Yeah, we all have experienced that at some point. You said you were diagnosed with autism. Was there any thought, or were you sent anywhere to speak to a professional about these sensitivities as you were growing up?
So when I was 10 or 11, just after misophonia developed, my parents forced me to go see a therapist, actually, to talk about this. Listen to what I'm going to tell you now. I told my therapist. She was very unprofessional, like extremely. She probably hadn't gotten a degree, or maybe she'd done a course. And I told her, hey, I'm here because I've got a problem with people eating. And she was just after giving birth. That's how desperate my parents were. They sent me to someone who wasn't even officially working because she was postnatal. And she came the next session. She came in with a plate of her breakfast,
Oh no.
eggs and tea, and she started eating. And with a mouthful, she said, "Okay, so you told me that it disturbs you when people are eating." She didn't connect the action she was doing to what I was saying, and that's not a therapist. I cried so badly. I ran away. I never went back.
Wait, so she did that not for exposure therapy, just randomly?
No, not for exposure therapy. Just because she's never heard of that. She couldn't imagine, and she didn't know that it's not professional to be eating in a session, especially one that much people.
I don't know what's worse, exposure therapy or that level of unprofessionalism. Oh
Something else about exposure therapy. I don't know my thoughts here on exposure therapy, but when I was exploring about it, with okay, later. But I'm not sure my thoughts about it.
Yeah, it's generally not. I mean, raw exposure therapy of just trying to habituate your senses is not.
That won't work. But maybe combining it with something. I actually really want to start studying neurology. Actually, I really want to be the one to develop a cure. Because
I will be the first to publicize your results.
Maybe one day. I'm thinking strongly about.
Well, how did you do in school? I mean, obviously there was issues and you couldn't stay. Sorry, I'm not gonna. I'll put my hand down. But how was school generally? Were you able to do well or to get to college, university?
I did really well in school until just before GCSEs, when I became burnt out and I failed most of my GCSEs, which was really interesting because everyone was like, what just happened? I got my hundreds on every exam up until then. And from one second to the next, my brain shut down. That was really difficult. And I wasn't able to study since.
Okay.
I also wasn't expected to study because I grew up in a high control group where you're expected to, after 16, you go to a special school for 2 years where you learn how to be a good mum and a wife. And then you're supposed to get married. And a lot about what they taught you is you're going to be a great mom, and kids are so important and kids are so valuable and we love kids. And what went through my mind all the time when I was hearing this was kids are not important. I didn't feel important when I grew up. People were murdering me every few minutes through eating in my ears, making noises, and and besides that, me being autistic, just not understanding their brains and them not understanding me. Nobody looked after me when I was a kid. I don't want to bring a kid into this world. And I didn't see a way out of that group. And so I became depressed. And then I wasn't fit for marriage. And I went to see a psychiatrist who assessed me autistic. And that saved my life. And since then, I've been building myself and trying to make space for myself in this world. I would say the biggest difficulty for me, my biggest struggle is misophonia, because I love my autism. I love the way I think. I love my logic. I love everything about it. Sometimes it's difficult just talking to people with other type of brains and them not understanding me. But the misophonia is just a monster.
Yeah. Wow. No, that's heavy stuff. Thanks for sharing all that. I'm glad you're. Yeah. I mean, I'm glad you're here and sharing the story. I guess, did your psychiatrist that you saw, did you mention the misophonia at all? Or was it purely about an autism? Nobody knew what it was at the time. Yeah.
They don't know what it is. Even my GP, I had to Google links and find appropriate resources to send them to read up about misophonia. Nobody knows what it is. It's really sad.
And I guess what then are your what have your coping methods been there? It sounds like moving and distance from family and has been a key thing.
Because my family is my biggest my biggest trigger. My family.
Yeah.
When it's other people, it's triggering, and I do have my immediate reactions instinctively that I do to try calm down. But when it's my family, the emotional part is it's devastating. Every time I put mascara on and I'm around my family, and then I go to the mirror and it's all over my cheeks. So much crying. Just 2 days ago, I was at my parents' place, and at one point I was fed up. I locked myself into the bathroom and I just weeped my heart out. It's a lot of crying. It's a lot of crying. It's only around my family. The emotional distress that comes in Misophonia when it's around my family, because it's all the emotions. Hey, you should have been there for me. Where were you all these years? Why am I so lonely? Why am I so alone? Why is nobody coming towards me? Why do I? Because I kept telling my dad, I'm one of 10 kids. Why can't we do 1 in 10 days is a fast day? That's why I can feel at home. And he said, but why should the 9 kids pay the price of 1? So I say, why should 1 kid pay the price of 9? Instead of a little bit of the suffering I put on them being split between all of them, it's all the suffering of all of them on my shoulders. How am I not going to collapse?
Wow. Yeah, that's a great way to put that back to your dad. I'm listening. I'm admiring that you're saying you said things to your parents that most of us have not thought of or just bottle up. So that's
No, I'm very bottled up. I'm still very bottled up. It's still not doing any to accommodate me.
Right. No, that's just terrible. Okay, so what are you doing for work now? Are you going to an office or working from home, or?
I'm not able to work because
Not able to work. Yeah.
I'm not able to work now because nobody's willing to accommodate my need.
Yeah.
I do want to. I do want to work in the future, but I'm going to have to find something independently that I can do on my own terms.
Yeah. No, and I hope you do that. And I'm hoping, with everyone, with so much work from home, and
when I was working, I would come home. Can you hear me?
Yeah, no, yeah. Sorry, I heard you. Sorry, I was cutting you off, but I'm curious, what were you working on before? What would you like to do? Would be kind of an interesting way to kind of maybe look at the future.
So, I like office work and admin work. But if I was working in an office and there were other people in the office, I'd have to go to cry in the corner every few minutes. That would happen a lot. And after 3 days, I would give up and say, I can't play with all these migraines. Too much of it. I can't do this. And I would quit. And that happened multiple times.
Yeah. What about when you go out and when you go on the tube or groceries and stuff, or hanging out with friends socially, how is that? Are your friends a little bit more understanding and be able to cut you some slack, or you maybe not have a huge friend circle?
Yeah, I don't have many friends, but the friends I do have, I choose wisely. I'm not going to pay the price of misophonia triggers for my friendship. What I found really helps me, especially with people who are important to me, I don't tell them I have misophonia. Even if it's, for example, for a job interview, I won't say I have misophonia because they don't know what that is. I will say, these are my needs. You want to be in contact with me? No eating next to me. No chewing gum next to me. No drinks. No the other triggers that I have. I'm not. You do any of that, I'm cutting off contact with you. You want to be in contact with me? Respect my needs. You don't have to understand them, but you have to respect them. And I find that helps with my friends. They often don't understand what I'm going through in my brain, but if they're willing to respect my needs, then that's a friendship I'm willing to invest in.
Yeah, you don't have to understand fully, but understand that it's important enough to respect and just back up. Not making any promises, but you're in the UK. I've spoken to a lot of people on the podcast from the UK. I'd love to help connect you with other people who have misophonia who've come on and understand, and just maybe be a supportive force for you, supportive energy for you in your life. So many ways we can go. So I guess you have, day to day, have you met other people with misophonia in your day to
Actually,
day?
last week, somebody reached out on Facebook in a misophonia group saying she is doing a dissertation for her master's, and she's looking for people with misophonia to help with her research. And I met up with her, and then we went to a cafe, and we both ordered coffee, and then she got me a cake, and I was about to eat the cake, and I was like, oh my gosh, this is the first time I'm sitting with somebody else with triggers. I can't just eat the way I like. And I didn't eat. I drank, and I drank carefully. It was the first time in my entire life that I had to actually think the way I would love people to think when they're around me with food. And I was like, wow, that's not easy. That's not easy. And it was
right.
Yeah,
it's eye-opening. We people who go to the Misophonia convention say the same thing, but I don't know if it's the same for you. But if I'm around, I mean, I was just on a Zoom call with somebody with misophonia, and I meet up with people with misophonia often. It's hard. I don't get triggered by other people who have misophonia as much as I would by somebody who has misophonia, partly because I feel like there's an understanding, and I'm not under threat, and I know my needs would be met if something were to come up.
That is super interesting. That is actually super interesting. It just proves how misophonia is based on emotions and not based on physical. My dad can be making the same exact sound as a stranger.
Right.
And one will make me cry, and one won't affect me at all.
You're right. There's a deeper context that is tied up with our triggers.
That's what I'm going to get into studying. Not the triggers, but the emotions.
The meaning. Yeah. I think researchers are starting to zone in on that. At least there are some directions going in that way.
I don't like when they come with all the high hopes, saying, "Hey, we're going to do CBT. Hey, we're going to do trigger training." No, I don't like when they just pretend that they've got this amazing magic, We don't need that.
Yeah.
We need hope. We're fine.
No,
we're fine with moving slowly, but we need something that's actually going to work.
Yeah, I don't think there. I mean, may not. I don't think. I've never say never. I don't think there will ever be a one universal treatment plan for everybody. I think.
Of course not. Of course not, because it's not diabetes. It's not physical,
right.
Like I said.
Right.
Neurological, and it has to suit everybody's brain differently.
Yeah. Right, and it comes in differently. Like for your story, there's some commonalities, but different from other people's stories. And so I think that's kind of the. I think researchers have not fully wrapped their head around around that point. I think everyone's looking for that.
I hope that some of the I just want the really fancy researchers. Some of them should develop misophonia, because then they'll use their knowledge. They're already there. They've done their PhDs. Then they'll use their knowledge to help us.
Yeah. Well, Jane Gregory, who I helped write her book on, is actually based in Oxford. She has misophonia as well. So yeah, there's definitely there's definitely need for more researchers with misophonia, and there are researchers who are actually reaching out to people who have misophonia to kind of get this kind of context. So that's promising. So I guess, tell me more about where you're living now. Like, you're out far. There's nobody around you. Is that how?
Barely any humans. There are some there are many farm animals. I don't see any people, and I don't. Maybe one or two a day, and I don't need to see people. I'm fine.
Yeah, you get your food. You get your groceries.
I always say that if I had misophonia, but if I wasn't autistic, and I don't think I would have survived until now. So my autism saves me from misophonia, because imagine you have misophonia and you're very sociable. You love going out with people.
Oh.
But every time you go and you're disappointed. Every single time you go and you're exposed to triggers, and then you try again the next time because you forget, or you don't think about the dangers. But me, I don't care. I'll just stay home. Who cares? I don't need people. So that saves me.
Yeah, so tell me more about that dynamic, because I don't know about autism. I don't know too much of the details, but that kind of keeps you away, or you just naturally are
Autistic people
introverted?
tend to be less
Yeah.
socially, like they have less need to be socially.
Okay.
I wouldn't say that they don't socialize the same way neurotypical people do. So I
Okay.
would say
Okay.
for me as an autistic person with misophonia, if I know I'm going to be triggered, then I'm fine saying no. I won't go to that event. I won't go to that. I'm fine. I don't need you guys. I'm fine. I'll just stay home with my computer and my writing. I like writing, so I'll just be writing, and
Yeah.
I don't need that. But imagine if you love social life, just like I remember my friends did in school. Imagine loving the social life like they did, but every single time being triggered. I would have died by now.
Gotcha. Okay. So that I guess autistic tendency to avoid crowds and avoid people in general just
Mm.
has a benefit for you
Yeah.
in terms of dealing with misophonia. Yeah. Yeah. No, I guess I never really thought of it that way. Going back a little bit to your family, and do any of yours? We know, I guess, your dad especially doesn't really understand. Maybe let's talk about your mom and your other siblings. Like, what are their thoughts on misophonia now? Is it all,
Okay.
or is it all the same? Because it's such a tight, small, conformist community that it's pretty much all the same. They don't care, and they're all the same people.
First of all, let me say, like I love my family. However much misophonia makes me hate them,
Mm.
it's it, it's I'm actually writing a book now about misophonia as well, and I'm thinking of calling it something along the lines of hating your loved ones. Because like
I
I
want to
love them.
read the. I want to read this book. This is please.
My writing when
Okay.
it comes to misophonia is so raw and painful. My best lines come from pain, and yeah. Anyways, so it's really hard. Like I love my family, but it's very hard to feel the love, especially from when I'm physically close because I'm triggered and my misophonia reactions and my thoughts and my all of that. I'm sure many people have already said what what comes to our minds when
Yeah,
uh,
yeah,
triggered.
they have, but I do want to I would love to hear a little bit more about your thoughts about that the idea of like that amazing title, like hating the ones you love. Like how do you go back between the two? Are you is it when you're far away, you're calling them and you're very close, you feel very close despite everything that happened in the past, and then it's just when you're around them that you feel. It's fascinating to me that someone who was really needs were not met, kind of like emotionally neglected in many ways growing up, still feels a love for her family. I would just love to, I don't know, hear your raw thoughts on that, because I know a lot of people are relating
You
to
know,
that.
I love my family. I don't know what love is when it comes to family, but
Mm-hmm.
but yes, I'm willing to invest in my relationship with them because they're my family. Sometimes
Mm-hmm.
I say no. I'm going to cut contact. I
Yeah.
often say that if they don't learn to come towards me, make a little bit of accommodations, I'm going to cut contact. And then I sit down a few days later and I think logically, no, I don't want to cut off contact. They do so much for me. They really try. They just don't understand.
Okay.
Imagine if you're grown, they don't understand because they've been around me so long. They're so used to it. When I tell my sister to stop singing because it's disturbing me, she doesn't reply, "Hey, I'll stop," or "Hey, I don't want to." She doesn't even do that. She just continues as if my pleas are not, as if I'm invisible. They're so used to me
Oh,
telling
okay.
them to be quiet that they don't hear me anymore.
Yeah. Do any of them have any uh i- psychological or issues, not misophonia, but other things that are maybe more popular?
Nothing diagnosed, but
Yeah.
I'm assuming there's a couple of family members with OCD,
Mm-hmm.
um, and maybe one with ADHD.
Okay. So nothing
Yeah.
diagnosed. And is that,
No.
would your family not even entertain trying to get a diagnosis? Oh, actually, it sounds like your family did send you to the therapist. I'm curious if there was, if they'd sent anybody else to a therapist. What I'm getting at is, like, have they taken anything else seriously? And you're just kind of like not taken seriously, which is not uncommon.
I have a sister with Down syndrome,
Hmm.
so a lot when she was born, a lot of the thought and because her disability is visible and affects everybody around, then she got a lot of the necessary treatments, the necessary thoughts, the necessary love and everything. She was showered with everything. And
Hmm.
I fell through the cracks because my disability is not visible.
Yeah. Was that something that you felt from a young age? I don't know how what the age difference was
Well,
between you
when the child with Down syndrome, especially born with heart defects, there's a lot of energy and time goes to that child, and every child will feel like, hey, I'm being overlooked. I'm sure everybody felt that way.
Yeah. So you're still to this day, it sounds like your needs are kind of like background noise to them. But do they? I know. So I've had guests that have come on who have said like, their siblings. They didn't have a huge amount of siblings, but their family would even go on vacations together and not include them because of the misophonia. I don't know if I ever got to that point with your family. It sounds like they were actually at least trying to pretend that you were part of the group, even though they just kind of zoned out on your.
Expected. You're supposed to be perfect and give a good image, so they'll do anything. But yes, I often just chose to stay at home when they went on trips or vacation because I knew I'm just going to be a bother for them. It's not because they made me say like, "Hey, you're not coming along." It was more because I knew they're not going to have fun if I'm there.
Yeah. Have you and you don't have to answer, but I was asking in terms of like partners. Has this affected like romantic, relationships and whatnot as well?
No, it hasn't. It hasn't, because again, like I remember before when I was still religious, when I was still in that group, I spoke to my teacher about it, and she said actually she has a daughter with misophonia, and who was just getting married. And I said, oh, so it must be, if she loves her husband, it must be she's not being triggered by him. And she said, no, she is being triggered, and that's very difficult. So I said, no, I think if I get married to somebody I love, then I won't be triggered because my emotions around them will be positive from the start.
Yeah.
Misophonia is emotion based, like I say, and she disagreed, but I stood by mine, and all my partners have never triggered me.
Gotcha. Okay. Well, that's great. I hope that continues. Did what was I going to ask? Yeah, speaking of the, did you say you're still in the religious group, or you have different thinking now? I'm just curious where you are.
When I went to see a psychiatrist abroad for my depression, I also found a better lifestyle for me. Yeah.
Okay.
One that I don't have to conform to, and I could just live freely and discover who I am, what I want, what works for me.
Yeah. So was there anything official you need to do? I'm not sure about that. I don't want to pry too much into what group you're in, but did you have to like separate yourself in a more, or did you just not go to the place of worship, or was there bigger kind of like schism with the community? Like, was it a big scandal kind of thing, or was it just you stopped going to events? And
no, it's when you're in the community, you don't have access to anything outside. So we barely had any secular education, and everything that we did have was censored. So
gotcha.
When I left, it was like I was reborn, and I had to learn everything from the beginning.
Wow.
We're not allowed to eat in the restaurant, like in food that was bought from shops outside the community. We weren't allowed to speak to people who are outside the community. So
wow, that's huge. Oh wow, okay.
Yeah.
And how?
The clothing,
and that was,
I didn't know fashion. I didn't know. Yeah.
So you weren't watching TV or movies or anything like that?
No internet. No.
Okay. Wow. And this was in London, or
yeah,
in the UK. Okay.
Yeah, in the UK.
Interesting. All right. Okay. Yes. So we're getting to about 40. And I'm now that you're out, I'm now I really want to introduce you to other people who have misophonia. Because I think that will help a lot. And because going back to your, so the partners that you knew, they were part of the community, or not?
No, you can't have a partner in the community, like be married
until you get married. Okay.
So it was after I had left already, then I discovered myself and eventually also got into a relationship. Yeah.
Gotcha. Okay. Well, I guess, what are your what do you what do you hope to do in the future? You've made this big move. Well, you made a number of big moves recently. One of them, obviously, leaving your community. You still love your family. You live away from them. Um, what are I don't know. What are your other plans related to misophonia and maybe life wise? You seem like
Um,
you're kind of at
I
a
know
inflection point.
I don't believe there will be a cure anytime soon or anything substantially
Yeah.
substantial to help. And misophonia people. I don't know if you understand this thought process, but often it's like I don't want to cure myself. I want everybody to learn how to eat properly. It's a lot about that. It's a lot of friction against myself from one side. Hey, should I cave in and let them eat the way they want and cure myself, or should I continue to suffer because I think that it's not just the way they're acting?
Right.
So my my dreams for the future, because I don't think there will be a cure, I'm taking full responsibility of hopefully being able to study in a setting. Well, I had to drop out of university multiple times because of misophonia.
Okay.
I could
Okay.
find a different way
Yeah.
to study.
I don't think we talked about university. So yeah, I'm curious.
Yeah.
Kind of.
I'd love to open a lab and do my own research and from experience find something to help people with misophonia. And on the side, obviously, I'm writing my books and just to spread awareness and to spread awareness, because I think if I write a book that comes from within, that's really raw and describes how difficult it is for people with misophonia, then there will be more interest from professionals to actually spend a little bit more time and efforts on this.
Yeah.
Just because just because they think it's not common, it's not true. It's very common. Lots of people are suffering, and I really want to do something to change that. I want to make a difference.
Yeah, there are studies in the UK and the US about studying prevalence, and yeah, they're finding it's definitely not uncommon, 5% or more. So
What is uncommon is how much it affects people's lives. So for me, I can't. It affects my day to day 99%.
Right. What and your writings kind of what format is that? In like a fiction, autobiography? I'm just kind of curious.
Most of it is memoir.
Mm-hmm.
And when it comes to misophonia, actually, it's a lot of poetry, literature, literary styles, anything but fiction, honestly. Not fiction.
Not okay, gotcha.
I don't write fiction.
Yeah.
And also, I'd never want to make something as real as misophonia into something fiction, because that makes people think it's a fairy tale. It's not. Mm-hmm. When I'm writing, I want the message to be clear. This is real. We need to deal with it like it's real.
Gotcha. Yeah, I mean, I'd love to, if you're ready to share any of the poetry, whether it's around the time when this goes live.
Yeah, I'm putting it. I'm going to one day this week. Hopefully, I'm going to start actually perfecting my blog. So I'll be putting some of it up there.
Oh yeah, and if it's okay, I'd love to. Yeah, I'd love to share it on my social media channels.
Yeah, and we'll talk about that.
Yeah, no, that'd be amazing. And in terms of, I mean, you're in the UK, and there are there's a lot of misophonia research in the UK. So I would love to, see if we can connect with researchers, and maybe there's a way in.
Yeah, I would love to contribute towards a better future, honestly.
Yeah. Well, Esty, anything else you want to share? This is thank you for sharing such a lot of people come on and share a lot of heavy things, and I always appreciate it. So thanks for sharing it. And I know, from the messages I get, people listen to some of these episodes and aren't as brave as the people who come on, but they feel the same stuff, and they definitely appreciate hearing stories like this. So I want to thank you there. But anything else you want to share about your experiences?
No, I just want to let people out there know that they're not alone, and that they should find communities. They should join the Facebook groups. We should create our own safe spaces. And also, if there are any web developers over there, can you please create some sort of bot that can let us watch movies and not be scared of triggering scenes? I would love that. That's my dream. That is my dream, to be able to watch Netflix in peace.
So that's an interesting idea. Do you mean having a bot where you can ask if there's going to be a trigger in a show, or have it
No,
something
so having
remove?
a some sort of bot where you actually put in your triggers in there and tell them that when a scene of this certain trigger
Oh,
comes, is blur the screen and put on subtitles and
gosh.
put the
Okay.
audio up. Yeah.
Yeah. I can see that in the future being an accessibility
Not in
feature.
the future.
Yeah.
I could see it right now happening.
Yeah. They just need to crank that. I feel like Apple is moving towards that. They've been doing things on the iPhone. Very interesting. Well, yeah. Hopefully, you can be part of that research too. Anyone listening, please reach out.
Yeah, please do.
Well, yeah. Again, Esty, thanks for coming on, and yeah,
Thank you for hosting.
thanks again, Esty. Glad you're finding some relief where you're living now, and good luck with everything in the future. If you like this episode, don't forget to leave a quick review or just hit the 5 stars wherever you listen to this podcast. You can hit me up by email at hello@misophoniapodcast.com or go to the website, misophoniapodcast.com. It's even easier just to send a message on Instagram or Facebook at Misophonia Podcast, and on Twitter, it's Misophonia Show. Support the show by visiting the Patreon at patreon.com/Misophonia Podcast. The music, as always, is by Moby. And until next week, wishing you peace and quiet.